Hi, in this video we're going to focus on adding and subtracting integers, and we're going to use this table to add and subtract the integers, okay? Let's say if I have an example here, -2 take away 3. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see, okay, what signs do I have in my problem? I have two negatives, so whenever I have like signs, right, both the signs are same. Whenever I have like signs, I know that I have to add those numbers, right? So I'm going to add 2 and 3. 2 plus 3 is going to give me 5. Now, what sign do I put in front of my answer? Will that be positive? Will that be negative? Well, I need to keep the sign of the greater number. That's what you have to keep in mind. So this table tells you what operation you need to perform between the two numbers, but then you always have to put the sign of a greater number. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that this is 2 and this is 3. So you forget about the signs in front of them. You don't look at the signs. Only look at the numbers, okay? You see that 3 is greater than 2, right? If 3 is greater, you see what sign do you have in front of 3? You see that it's negative, so you're going to put the negative sign in front of your answer. So -2 minus 3 is going to give you -5. Okay, so let's take a look at the next problem here. -1 plus 6. Okay, so I see the opposite signs, right? This is negative and this is positive. So you have unlike signs. Whenever you have different signs, whenever you have unlike signs, you need to subtract the numbers, right? So now you know that you have to subtract, right? 6 minus 1 is going to give you 5. But then what sign do you put in front of your answer? So you're going to see that, okay, what number is greater? You have to put the sign of the greater number. So I'm going to say this is 1 and this is 6. Now you're only going to look at the numbers. Don't look at the signs because that's going to confuse you. You see that 6 is greater than 1, and then you see what sign do you have in front of 6. So you have positive sign in front of your 6. So your answer is going to be +5. Now, it's not necessary to put a positive sign in front of your number because a number is considered as positive if you don't put any sign in front of it, right? So this is +5, and you can leave it as 5, right? Let's take a look at the next problem. Okay, let's say if I have 5 minus 7. Now in this problem, I just see one sign. What do I do now? Whenever you don't have any sign in front of a number, you're going to consider that number as positive. Here, since you don't have any sign in front of 5, you're going to consider that as positive, right? So this is a positive number and this is a negative number. Again, you have unlike signs, and you know that whenever you have unlike signs, you have to subtract, right? So you're going to subtract. 7 minus 5 gives you 2. Now, we're going to put the sign. So we have to remember that we put the sign of the greater number. Now, which number is greater between 5 and 7? Don't look at the sign. I see that 7 is greater. So I'm going to put the sign which is in front of 7. So 7 has a negative sign in front of it. So we're going to put the negative sign in front of your answer. So the answer is going to be -2, right? Let's take a look at another example. Let's say if I have -4 minus 5. Okay, how do I solve this problem? Let's see. I have two negative signs in my problem. That means I have like signs, and we know that whenever we have like signs, we need to add. So now I know that I have to add 4 and 5. So I'm going to add and write this is 9. Okay, but then what about the signs? So I'm going to say that this is 4 and this is 5 without looking at their signs. And I know that 5 is greater than 4. And then I'm going to look, okay, 5 has a negative sign in front of it. So that's why my answer is going to be negative. So always remember, this table tells you what operation you need to perform between the two numbers. But you have to always remember to keep the sign of the greater number. Let's take a look at another example. -8 plus 4. So -8 plus 4, here you have unlike signs. You know, when you have unlike signs, you need to subtract, right? So 8 minus 4 gives you 4. But then think about the sign. Which number is greater between these two? Don't look at the sign. 8 is greater, and 8 has a negative sign in front of it. So you're going to end up with a negative result. Your answer is going to be -4. So you always keep the sign of the greater number, right? Okay, let's take a look at another example. 9 minus 11. So here again, 9 is considered to be positive. If you don't have any sign in front of a number, you're going to consider that number to be positive. And you see that I have unlike signs. Whenever you have different signs, you know that you have to subtract. So 11 minus 9 gives me 2. But then what about the sign? Which sign do I put? Okay, then I'm going to see which number is greater. I see that 11 is greater than 9, and 11 has a negative sign in front of it. So my answer is going to be -2. Let's see this example, -10 plus 12. I have unlike signs, so I know that I have to subtract. So 12 minus 10 is going to give me 2. Now we're going to see which number is greater. We see that 12 is greater than 10. and 12 has a positive sign in front of it. So the answer is going to be positive 2. And I'm not going to put the positive sign in front of 2 because 2 is considered as positive, right? This is the way you add and subtract the positive and negative integers. Remember that when you have like signs, you add them, but then keep the sign of the greater number. If you have unlike signs, you subtract them, but then keep the sign of the greater number. And I hope you feel comfortable in adding and subtracting integers now. That's all in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to this channel and want to see more videos on other math topics, be sure to subscribe down below and share it with your friends. See you in the next video.